Let's get right into it. If you're planning a teaching career in Idaho, you've probably looked at the certification process and thought, wow, this is a massive administrative maze. But today, in this explainer, we're going to completely reframe that. Instead of seeing it as some giant bureaucratic hurdle, I want you to think of this process as a choose-your-own-adventure roadmap. It's literally designed to get you exactly where you want to be, right there in the classroom empowering students. We're going to walk through this roadmap step by step using the official Idaho Department of Education guidance so you know exactly which turns to take based on your own unique background. Let's do this!
Okay, here's our roadmap for today's explainer. 1. Why certification matters. 2. Finding your pathway. 3. Base certificates versus endorsements. 4. Keeping your certificate active. And 5. Practical tips for success.
Section 1. Why certification matters and the high standards for Idaho's students.
So, before we get into the how, we really have to talk about the why. You know, the Idaho Department of Education has this great quote that perfectly captures their core mission. They want to, quote, ensure that students are taught by qualified, competent, and ethical educators. Certification isn't just about checking a box. It's basically the foundational step to working in a public school. For the districts, it means reliable staffing and real accountability. And for you, it gives you a crystal-clear professional framework for your career.
Let's break down what an Idaho teaching certificate actually is. It is not just a fancy diploma, it's a mandatory state credential. It's the ultimate proof that you've met the state's minimum legal requirements for preparation, ethics, professional conduct, and subject knowledge. And honestly, the stakes here are pretty high. It's not just about passing a test. The state actually reserves the right to deny certification if there are any grounds that would support revoking one. So background suitability and professional conduct, those are absolutely crucial parts of the picture. They just want to make sure you are truly suited for the classroom.
Section 2. Finding your teaching pathway and figuring out where you belong.
This is where our choose-your-own-adventure really kicks in. Idaho knows great teachers come from everywhere, so there are 3 main pathways. First, the traditional route. This is mostly for new grads who just finished an approved educator prep program. Then, the out-of-state route. This is for existing teachers who hold a valid certificate from another state, specifically if you completed a CAEP or AAQEP approved program within the last 2 years. And finally, the alternative route. This one's designed for career changers and for districts that really need to fill shortages. Now, what's really interesting here is that comparing these routes side by side lets you immediately identify which adventure you're going to be embarking on. Let's look a bit closer at the traditional route, because this is the most common path for new Idaho grads seeking their initial certificate. It's actually super straightforward. Step 1, you just complete a state-approved teacher preparation program. Step 2, you pass your required praxis assessments. Keep in mind the specific tests will definitely vary depending on what you want to teach. And step 3, you submit those official transcripts to verify your certification and endorsement areas. It is a highly structured, very reliable way to get going.
But hey, what if you're a career changer? Well, under the alternative authorization rules, time is literally of the essence. Look, teacher shortages are a reality, right? So Idaho uses this route to help districts get candidates into classrooms immediately. If a district needs you, this gets your foot in the door. But, and this is a big distinction, an alternative authorization is not the same thing as a standard certification. It comes with a strict 3-year limit and it is strictly non-renewable. You'll be working under active district supervision and you have to meet hard deadlines to finish an approved prep program to get that standard credential. It's a fantastic opportunity for sure, but it takes some serious dedication to get it done on time.
Moving right along to Section 3, endorsements and teaching your subject.
So the crucial point here is understanding the difference between your base certificate and your endorsements. It's kind of like this. Your base certificate is your general ticket in. It gives you general eligibility to work in Idaho public schools. But your endorsement, that's your VIP pass. It specifically identifies the exact subject area or grade level you're allowed to teach. And the cool thing is, Idaho lets you add endorsements later on in your career, which is super flexible. You just have to remember that depending on your route, adding one might mean taking extra praxis tests or doing a bit more coursework.
Section 4, keeping your certificate active and handling the upkeep. Okay, current teachers, this one is for you. The magic number for renewal in Idaho is 6. If you hold a standard 5-year renewable certificate, you're going to need verification of 6 semester credits of professional development to renew it. The state is actually pretty flexible about this. You can use either official or unofficial transcripts to verify those credits. It's really just their way of making sure everyone is staying current and continuously learning in their fields.
Now, you absolutely have to track your dates for this.
January 1st is the earliest date you can submit your renewal application for the year it expires, and August 31st, that is the absolute expiration date for current year certificates. Do not let this deadline slip. If it expires without renewal, you can't just casually renew it later. You actually have to go through a whole reinstatement process instead. They do offer online renewal for a lot of people for a small fee, which is great, but heads up, the department explicitly states you cannot use the online system if you hold a 3-year certificate or an occupational specialist certificate.
And this 25-year mark brilliantly illustrates how Idaho rewards long-term dedication. Starting July 1st, 2025, they are rolling out a brand new lifetime certificate. If you're an experienced educator with 25 or more years of certified public school experience and you meet the renewal requirements, you can apply for lifetime status. And you want to know the best part? For those who qualify, this comes with 0 application fees. None. It's just a really fantastic way to acknowledge a lifetime of serving Idaho students.
Section 5. Practical tips for success. Because these certification rules can definitely evolve over time, having a structured approach is incredibly valuable. So here's a quick checklist for you. First, always confirm your exact route on the SDE website before you apply. Don't just guess. Second, check your program's state approval or accreditation. If you're coming from out of state, this is absolutely critical. Your program has to meet Idaho's recognized accreditation. And remember, if your out-of-state certificate is already expired, Idaho is not going to accept it under that route. Third, organize those transcripts and test scores early. We all know how much the state loves a mountain of paperwork, right? Get ahead of it. Fourth, track that August 31st deadline like a hawk. And finally, if you're adding an endorsement, proactively verify exactly what testing or coursework you'll need.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, the real question isn't just which pathway you're going to choose, it's what kind of impact are you going to make once you finally get there. Think about it. Behind every single one of these bureaucratic steps is a classroom full of students just waiting for a passionate, qualified educator. Will you be the one to step up and guide the next generation? I highly encourage you to head over to the official SDE website and take that very first step today. Thanks so much for hanging out with me to decode all of this, and I'll see you next time.